Antichrist in the New World Order means the order of death. No one can properly understand what's going on in the world today unless you begin with the Word of God. The Bible teaches in 2 Corinthians 4:4 that Satan is the god of this sinful world. As such, Satan needs a way to control this world. Satan uses occult organizations to accomplish this. Such organizations are Skull and Bones, officially the Order of Death, Rosicrucians, Bohemian Grove, the Russian Orthodox Church, Freemasonry, and others. The word occult means secret. Satan operates in secrecy because his works are evil and must be hid from the eyes of the public, lest Christians expose Satan's works of darkness. Ephesians 5:11. The Illuminati refers to a tightly organized network of family dynasties representing Anglo-American and European aristocracy and Jewish finance joined by intermarriage, belief in the occult, and hatred of Christianity. Freemasonry is their instrument. They care nothing for their non-Illuminati brethren, Jewish or not. They will destroy billions as they create a new feudal world characterized by the super rich, their support staff, soldiers, and serfs. The Illuminati is an occult-inspired group of elite families who control the world's leaders through blackmail, bribery, and when needed, ruthless tyranny. Their ultimate goal is to achieve a global, godless, totalitarian government, communist police state. This will be the best system of the coming Antichrist, the man of sin. In Revelation chapter 17:12-13, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the best. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the best." Revelation 17:12-13. The term New World Order, or NWO, refers to the emergence of a totalitarian one-world government. The common theme in conspiracy theories about a New World Order is that a secretive power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually rule the world through an authoritarian world government, which replaces sovereign nation state and an all-encompassing propaganda that ideologizes its establishment as the culmination of history's progress. During the 20th century, many statesmen such as Woodrow Wilson and Winston Churchill used the term New World Order to refer to a new period of history evidencing a dramatic change in world political thought and the balance of power after World War I and World War II. They all saw these periods as opportunities to implement idealistic proposals for global governance in the sense of new collective effort to address worldwide problems that go beyond the capacity of individual nation states to solve, while always respecting the right of nations to self-determination. These proposals led to the creation of international organizations such as the United Nations and NATO, and international regimes such as the Bretton Woods system and the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which were calculated both to maintain a balance of power in favor of the United States as well as regularize cooperation between nations in order to achieve a peaceful phase of capitalism. Claiming the term New World Order is used by a secretive elite dedicated to the destruction of all national sovereignties. American writer Gary Allen, in his 1971 book, None Dare Call It Conspiracy, 1974 book Rockefeller Campaigning for the New World Order, and 1987 book Say No to the New World Order, articulated the anti-globalist theme of much current right-wing populist conspirism in the US. Thus, after the fall of communism in the early 1990s, the main demonized scapegoat of the American far right shifted seamlessly from crypto-communists who plotted on behalf of the Red Menace to globalists who plot on behalf of the New World Order. Until now, the world we have known has been a world divided, a world of barbed wire and concrete block conflict and Cold War. Now we can see a new world coming into view, a world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. In the words of Winston Churchill, a world order in which the principles of justice and fair play protect the weak against the strong, a world where the United Nations, freed from Cold War stalemate, is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders. A world in which freedom and respect for human rights find a home among nations. There is a worldwide conspiracy being orchestrated by an extremely powerful and influential group of genetically related individuals, at least at the highest echelons, which include many of the world's wealthiest people, top political leaders, and corporate elite, as well as members of the so-called black nobility of Europe, dominated by the British Crown, whose goal is to create a one-world fascist government stripped of nationalistic and regional boundaries that is obedient to their agenda. Their intention is to effect complete and total control over every human being on the planet and to dramatically reduce the world's population by 5.5 billion people. While the name New World Order is a term frequently used today when referring to this group, it's more useful to identify the principal organizations, institutions, and individuals who make up this vast interlocking spiderweb of elite conspirators. In 1992, Dr. John Coleman published Conspirators' Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300. With laudable scholarship and meticulous research, Dr. Coleman identifies the players and carefully details the Illuminati agenda of worldwide domination and control. On page 161 of the Conspirators' Hierarchy, Dr. Coleman accurately summarizes the intent and purpose of the Committee of 300 as follows: a one-world government and one-unit monetary system under permanent, non-elected hereditary oligarchists who self-select from among their numbers in the form of a feudal system as it was in the Middle Ages. In this one-world entity, population will be limited by restrictions on the number of children per family, diseases, wars, famines, until 1 billion people who are useful to the ruling class in areas which will be strictly and clearly defined remain as the total world population. There will be no middle class, only rulers and the servant. All laws will be uniform under a legal system of world courts practicing the same unified code of laws, backed up by a one world government, police force, and a one world unified military to enforce laws in all former countries where no national boundaries shall exist. The system will be on the basis of a welfare state. Those who are obedient and subservient to the one world government will be rewarded with the means to live. Those who are rebellious will simply be starved to death or be declared outlaws. Thus a target for anyone who wishes to kill them. Privately owned firearms or weapons of any kind will be prohibited. Is this scheme to establish a new world order in fact a reality? Yes, it is. If you do not believe this, I encourage you to study the United Nations document and also the treaties which one ratified by individual nations become international law. The United Nations created the Commission for Global Governance. If you don't believe this, visit the United Nations website and look it up. The published goal of the Council of Foreign Relations, for example, is a one world government. And although most have never heard of many of these groups, they do exist and they are very influential. The core of these groups hold to Illuminist philosophy. A second focus is economics with free trade agreement. The International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and the Bank of International Settlement. The coming global monetary crisis is intended to institute a universal debt-based currency controlled by the international financiers and used and issued to individuals against biometric identification cards. This is all about control. The third area of focus is religion. Organizations like the World Council of Churches and the Parliament of World Religions were established to introduce a new world religion. It is based on a pantheistic humanist philosophy. Pay careful attention when you study the document and reports published by the United Nations and related organizations. This philosophy is now being taught in the education system and has been implemented under programs such as Goals 2000. The New World Order will be socialism. Read the United Nations declarations and treaties for proof of this fact. The individual will be subservient to the state. Rights and power reside in and derive from the state, not the individual. United Nations document all speaks of collectivism. They claim that private ownership and management of property is not to the benefit of the human race. These things are cloaked in a pleasant language, and most people are taken in and deceived. Yet few bother to study this document. In the New World Order, you will be a serfdom to the controlling elite. You will have no liberty and no right. The state will look after you for your best interest. Do you see how the government of the free world are slowly becoming more involved in everyday life? This is exactly what socialism is. The government becomes involved in every aspect of personal life. Today, we require a license for so many things. In Australia, farmers now require permission to farm the land they own. This is not freedom. In the New World Order, private ownership of property will be abolished. You will only own what you need. After all, this is best for the world. We need to be looked after. The United Nations goal is to reduce population selectively by encouraging abortion, forced sterilization, and control human reproduction, and regards 2/3 of the human population as excess baggage, with 350,000 people to be eliminated per day. Jacques Cousteau, UNESCO Courier, November 1991 report. When Adolf Hitler was building his power base in Germany, some people woke up and realized what was going on. Some were sounding the alarm to what they saw happening, but these people were largely ignored. Some Jews listened and left the country. Some Germans listened and left. Those who ignored the warnings soon found themselves living in tyranny and wondered how it could have happened. The same warning signs are being shouted from the rooftops in Australia and America today. Yet people are too busy with everyday things to stop and think. As in the 1930s, people are going to be shocked when they lose their freedoms. How fortunate for governments that the people they administer don't think, says Adolf Hitler. Everyone who ignores what is going on will suffer for their indecision when plans and comfortable circumstances dissolve around them. Such people will be unable to avoid their fate because all avenues of escape will be closed. They will continue to be controlled and manipulated like a flock of sheep and know it not. They will be slaves, while those who have woken up and prepared both physically and spiritually will be in a far stronger situation, understanding what is happening and why. Troubled times will be upon us all, but is it not better to be informed and able to act than ignorant, confused, and lost? There is a worldwide conspiracy being orchestrated by an extremely powerful and influential group of genetically related individuals, at least at the highest echelons, which include many of the world's wealthiest people, top political leaders, and corporate elite, as well as members of the so-called black nobility in Europe. To abolish all Christians, traditional religions in order to replace them with one world religion based on the cult of man. To abolish all national identity and national pride in order to establish a world identity and a world pride. To abolish the family as known today in order to replace them with individuals all working for the glory of the new one world government. To destroy all individual, artistic, and scientific creativity to implement a one world government, one mind sight. And that kind of declaration of war from the United Nations is for the implementation of a universal obligatory membership to the United Nations, a strengthening of the UN by a multi-military and multi-police force, a worldwide justice department through the UN with an international tribunal, a worldwide new trade agreement for all nations, the end of Cold War and local wars as they are today, and the obligation for peace by scrapping all national and state constitutions. A new one world false religion and a new apostasy culture is being planted covertly, illegally for all humankind. So the goals of the New Age movement under which the United Nations operates right now are the implementation of a new world Messiah, that is an apostate counterfeit Christ. The tools of the new world order are: 1. An international army. 2. An international police force. 3. A World Bank for the economy. 4. A world government under the United Nations. 5th, a World Conservatory Bank for wilderness preservation around the world. That means all grain movements will be melded into the new international bank or disappear altogether. 6. A world religion where all church doctrines will be destroyed at the roots to be replaced by the new world religion of the ages of Aquarius. 7. The world's 7 races classification for all human slaves who will fulfill predetermined work task, whether they agree with it or not. 8. The world concentration headquarters at the United Nations for those who will not accept the new system. 9. the world agriculture and food supply control, which will control food and vitamin supplies around the world. The New World Order will be an in-between government system for USSR, Great Britain and all its Commonwealth, and the United States with its melting pot population. This is at the end a new spiritual and political world order which will replace the old ones under which we live right now. What are the New World Order plans? The plan on the destruction of all people who believe in the Bible or worship Jesus Christ, and the complete disappearance of Christianity. To achieve this plan, the New World Order is changing national laws to assure that Christian beliefs and symbols like the cross, for instance, will become outlawed and unlawful. Religious holidays and ceremonies will be replaced with New Age festivities around the world. The elimination and complete destruction of all secret societies and secret brotherhoods, lodges and sanctuaries, all of which they view as the most serious threat to their survival after the implementation of the one world religion and one world government. The New World Order also plans the abolition of all national currencies and the transfer of commerce to electronic cash through the superhighway. Now, what those people also plan, and I repeat, this is not a dream and is not paranoid thinking. This is real. They plan that in order to accept the New World Order, all people must first accept the New Age religion to enter into New World religion. The Christian will have to abdicate their own beliefs. So, as they said, the initiation will be on a worldwide basis inside the newly organized New Christian Church, which will be a reorganized and strictly controlled Masonic temple, occult organization based on a Luciferian initiation. What we have to understand here is that no one will be able to maintain their old beliefs and at the same time enter into the New Age religion. It will be impossible. For those who will not accept the New World Order, who will reject it, the New World Order people have already built re-education concentration camps. And for those camps, they have established what they call the rainbow classifications of the New World Order prisoners. The rainbow is considered as the bridge leading to the satanic empire of the New World Order. We already know, for instance, that everyone will have to take an oath to Lucifer in order to cross the bridge into the New Age. All who resist that initiation will be sent to detention facilities where they will be separated into different categories known as the rainbow classification of the New World Order prisoners. 1. Classification of Christian children as planned is to be as human sacrifices where, within the black mass ceremonies, they will force to participate in any kind of sexual orgies or be kept as sexual slaves. 2. Classification of prisoners to be used in medical experiment where drugs and new technologies will be tested on humans. 3. Classification of healthy prisoners for the International Organ Donation Center where vital organs will be removed one by one while they are kept alive by mechanical devices. 4. classification of all healthy underground workers. The New World Order concept is basically a worldwide dictatorship based upon the Luciferian religion, a dictatorship with the illusion of democracy. Fifth, classification of uncertain prisoners in the International Re-Education Center. Political and religious prisoners will be re-educated by whatever means are required so that they may repent on international television programs and glorify the virtues of the one world government for the benefit of all humanity. 6. Classification of the International Execution Center. Clear enough. 7. Classification. 7. We are still waiting on the details of the 7th classification, and we are awaiting verification of the colors to be assigned to these classifications. Prisoners, but this is the basic agenda of those who have planned the new paradise world of the future. The New World Order is a term used to describe the uniting of the world's superpowers to secure and maintain a global peace, safety, and security. Synonymous with the term New World Order are the terms One World Government, Global Governance, and Globalization. All these terms are used interchangeably and at different times to communicate to different audiences. Make no mistake, they all basically mean the same thing. From a biblical perspective, the globalist New World Order agenda is nothing new and is addressed in Psalm chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. Why do the nations conspire and the people plot in vain? The kings of the earth rise up and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, "Let us break their chains and throw off their shackles." Psalm 2, 1 to 3. Wake up, citizens, the New World Order is coming. There is not a New World Order conspiracy. It is an agenda that has been at play for years and is now coming into full view. Wake up, fellow citizens. See what's happening. Research the New World Order for yourself and prepare yourself. If not for yourself, do it for your children. I am increasingly convinced the New World Order is in fact the Antichrist system of command and control being set up to fulfill Bible prophecy that will eventually lead to the introduction of the mark of the beast. The prophet Daniel described this New World Order this way: "And behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, strongly exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stomped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things." Daniel chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. The New World Order is neither a conspiracy nor a theory. It may be true there are many conspirators working within the New World Order. Its broader application, the New World Order is really more of an agenda by a group of satanic-inspired international elites to dominate, control, and manipulate government, industry, and media organizations worldwide. As Psalm chapter 2 said, the kings of the earth, that is government, rise up and the rulers band together, that is a conspiracy, against the Lord and against His anointed. Any intelligent person examining history and event occurring today cannot describe it as a theory either. Rather, the New World Order is clearly documented in historical document in both the words and actions of world leaders. The first attempt to establish a new world order was by a united humanity of the generations following the Great Flood, speaking a single language and migrating from the east, who came to the land of Shinar and built the Tower of Babel. Genesis 11. The modern day New World Order agenda is not hidden. It has been detailed in document for the Council of Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group, Club of Rome, United Nations, World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. A new world order has been a long time in the making, its pieces fitting into place from divergent realms and with many different players. The Second Vatican Council, Gaudium et Spes, declared, "It is our clear duty, therefore, to strain every muscle in working for the time when all war can be completely outlawed by international consent. This goal undoubtedly requires the establishment of some universal public authority, acknowledged as such by all and endowed with the power to safeguard on the behalf of all security, regard for justice, and respect for right. But before this hope for authority can be set up, the highest existing international centers must devote themselves vigorously to the pursuit of better means for obtaining common security." Pope Paul VI wrote in the encyclical titled Popularium Progressio, in a section called Toward an Effective World Authority, such international collaboration among the nations of the world certainly calls for institutions that will promote, coordinate, and direct it until a new judicial order is firmly established and fully ratified. We gave willing and wholehearted support to those public organizations that have already joined in promoting the development of nations, and we ardently hope that they will enjoy ever-growing authority. As we told the United Nations General Assembly in New York, your vocation is to bring not just some peoples but all peoples together as brothers, who can fail to see the need and importance of thus gradually coming to the establishment of a world authority capable of taking effective action on the juridical and political planes. World leaders are excited at the prospect for peace, and there has been much talk about entering a new era and about the establishment of a new world order. Mikhail Gorbachev was the first world leader to come out publicly with talk of a new world order, and he did so nearly 2 years before George Bush caught the vision. In his historic address to the United Nations on December 7, 1988, the Soviet Prime Minister made this dogmatic and even prophetic statement: "Further global progress is now possible only through a quest for universal consensus and the movement towards a new world order." Vision Report Watch says, in a statement to the United Nations Business Council in September 1994, David Rockefeller said, "We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the new world order." The pacified population accept it readily enough, believing that a world government fighting war on terror, establishing world peace, and preventing a nuclear holocaust could not be considered evil. While people are saying peace and safety, destructions will come on them suddenly, as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Benjamin Franklin had it right when he said, "Those who desire to give up freedom in order to gain security will not have, nor do they deserve either one." Today, these words ring truer than ever as Americans are willingly give up their freedom in order to gain a perceived security. We will have neither as America collapses into the ash heap of history. One central tenet to the New World Order is the belief in creating a master race that rules the world. For the New World Order, a world government is just the beginning. When in place, they can engage their plan to exterminate 80% of the world's population, while enabling these elites to live forever with the aid of advanced technology. Who really makes the rules? An American historian by the name of Carol Quigley published a book in 1965 called Tragedy and Hope, in which he exposed the deceptive cabal of international bankers. She said, "The powers of financial capitalism had another far-reaching aim, nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. The system was to be controlled in a feudalist fashion by the central banks of the world, acting in concert by the secret agreements arrived at in frequent private meetings and conferences. The apex of the system was to be the Bank for International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, a private bank owned and controlled by the world central banks, which were themselves private corporations." To really understand the whole story, we need to understand how the bankers work. Here's what one of the founding fathers of America, Thomas Jefferson, said 200 years ago. "I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. The issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs." One world religion. There is, under the guise of combining universal principles of all faith, a goal to create a singular religion for which there will be one leader or pope. Now, there is nothing wrong with developing harmony between people and working for a peaceful world. But to authorize a new way in a new age, and condemn the Abrahamic faith as mere dogmas and fundamentalist ideologies is quite dangerous. The elite are using the New Age and environmental movements to brainwash people into believing that the earth or Gaia is our mother and that we should love or worship it and stop air emissions, which, by the way, is what plants breathe in. Even of the religious communities are jumping on the environmentalist bandwagon and praying for the revival of the earth's energy. Celebrities like Oprah Winfrey are promoting New Age gurus and their philosophies on how all of us are gods and how we can perform miracles. So why is that dangerous? Simply because these atheistic beliefs do away with moral values and the sense of right and wrong that the Abrahamic faith gives us. When you believe that you will not be accountable for your deeds and you alone should decide what is chaste and righteous, then you live as you please, without any guilt and not bound by any moral restraint. My intent here is not to promote any one specific religion, but to inform people and to stop them for falling for an ideology that is trying to do away with belief in one single creator and wants to establish a theosophical system which goes hand in hand with a new world order. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.